Hi, and welcome to Making Sense of Your Schedule. In this video, we are going to examine the types of classes that MHCC offers this term and make sure that you know what to expect in terms of your face-to-face, Blackboard, and Zoom classes. And I'm Sarah, as you know, and I'm working between two screens here, so you'll see me working a little bit back and forth, so don't be alarmed by that. Now, I'm also going to ask you to look at your schedules and make sure that you have enough time to attend class plus handle the other responsibilities in your life. Each of you has a unique situation, so I want to make sure that you are successful. You can pause this video at any time, and I'm going to ask you to pause it at certain points to make sure you are ready for the next section. Let's get started. So as you can see, we are at mhcc.edu, which is our homepage, our website homepage. And from this page, you can get to a lot of our important things like our links for students, MHCC login, and all the web pages for all of our departments on campus. Now, we're going to take a look at the schedule of classes. You may have already selected and registered for classes, or perhaps an advisor told you what classes to take. But in any event, let's check your understanding of how courses are listed at MHCC this fall anyway. So we're going to start by doing a course search. You can go into My MHCC, which is how most students do it. I'm instead going to go to the red bar down here to schedule of classes because I don't want to log in as myself or as a student. I just want to show you in general. So that does bring us to the My MHCC course search page. And I am actually going to scroll down. There are a lot of really helpful documents that help you understand how things are listed, especially this one, which is Understanding the Fall 2021 Schedule of Classes. And we're going to come back to that in just a second. But if I scroll down, I am going to go to Course Search, which is here. Now, depending on what term it is, the term will show up. And when I'm recording this video, the only class term available is Fall 2021. In a few weeks, we'll be able to see winter classes and so on and so on. So I'm going to look up in the Department of Writing, because writing is a super common class that most students have to take. And I'm actually just going to look at writing class 121, and it's going to let me search just for the writing 121 classes. Now there's other tools that are here. You can search by days and times that the class meets. You can search by faculty, and you can explore all this on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and just scroll down and go to the search button. So what pops up for me are all the available courses of Writing 121. So there's a whole grid of courses, a whole list of them. So I'm going to take a look at this first column that says course code. So the course code is WR121, Writing 121. And you notice there's also a dash, and then there's numbers or letters after the dash, and that is the section. So it starts at 01, 02, it keeps going, and if I keep going, there's some that also have letters involved. So what that means is that there's about 10 or 15 different writing classes, but the one that you sign up is that particular section. And so your instructor might teach multiple sections of the same class, or there might be different instructors teaching different sections. So that's the first thing to take a note of. So Writing 121. The next column is the name, the actual course name, English composition. The next column is the learning community, if it is involved in a learning community, which is a cohort of classes and students who are taking the same classes. That's blank, so I'm not going to see anything there. The next thing is REQ, which stands for requisites. And requisites are required classes you have to take before you take this class. So let's click on it. So when I click on this, there's actually a lot of extra words that are coded just so the computer knows how to read it. But what's super important is that you look at is that first it tells you that there are no textbooks required for this section, but also there's a course prerequisite. Pre means before, requisite means required. So you have to have a reading level of Reading 90 or higher. So that means either you've taken the Reading 90 course, or you've tested above that when you've taken the placement test, or your transcripts placed you above that. And also another course prerequisite of Writing level 115. So you either have to complete Writing 115 or test above or transfer in above Writing 115 before you can actually take Writing 121. So I'm going to head back, but instead of hitting the back button, when you're in MyMHCC, it actually doesn't like the back button. Instead, there's this trail at the top that's sometimes called a breadcrumb trail, and it's a little list of places that you've been before. So right now I'm on the course requisite page. I want to go to the page right before that, and it'll take me back to where I started from. Okay, so this is back to the course search page. So we just looked at requisites, textbook price. Now, if it tells you if there's a no-cost textbook, which means that either you don't have to buy the book, or maybe your instructor provides all of the information online for you, or sometimes it'll say low cost, less than $50. And if it doesn't have anything else listed, there are some textbooks that you probably need to purchase. Now you can click right in the next column under textbook link, and it'll link you to our new textbook website. If there's any other notes in the class, it'll tell you that. And next column is super important. It's seats open. So you have a number / another number. The second number are the total amount of seats that the class can carry. So let's take a look at this second example. Let's look at Writing 121, Section 2. So there are 0 seats open out of a total of 28. So there's 28 spots in the class. There's 0 currently open. So you currently can't sign up for this class, but you can sign up for the wait list. And there's 1 student on the wait list already. That means sometimes students drop the class, or they don't show up and they kind of disappear, or they just change their mind. When that happens, it means that anyone on the wait list can then join in the class. So you have to be on the wait list. So you can still register, but you'll be on the wait list. Maybe you'll get in. And it's often pretty likely because students often change their schedule at the last minute. This class, the next class is closed, and we're looking at this right now. I'm filming this pretty close to the beginning of the term, so it's not unusual that some of these classes are closed. And if I scroll down, I can see some other classes are open. Like this has 3 seats still available. This one has 5 seats still available. Now, if you really want to get into a class that is closed or there's a wait list, you can always email the instructor. So what's really cool is the next column under faculty schedule, it gives the instructor's last name. So for example, in Section 2, last name is Gurvich, first name Andrew. I know he goes by Andy. It's got his email address right here, andy.gurvich@mhcc.edu. So you could send this instructor an email, see if there's a spot in their class, or ask them any questions, which is really great. The other thing that's listed here is days and times, potentially, and some other important information. We're going to go back to that understanding the course schedule page. So in fall 2021, MHCC will be offering a variety of course modalities. All that means is this is the ways that you can attend class. So the first way would be on-campus meetings, or what's called face-to-face, like how we used to all take classes before the pandemic, meeting in class on campus at a certain day and time. Now, there could be a combination. Maybe you'll have on-class meetings combined with scheduled online meetings. And those scheduled online meetings are usually in Zoom. And this is called hybrid because it's a mix of on-campus and a mix of Zoom meetings. There's another type of hybrid, which is on-campus meetings combined with online content. Now, this is different because it's not any specific online meeting times. So you'd have some online work to do in Blackboard, which is a website that MHCC uses for our online courses, plus your meetings on campus. And Blackboard is probably going to be used in a lot of your classes from now on. It's just an easy way for your instructors to communicate information to you and gather assignments. Now, scheduled online meetings, meaning you just meet online in Zoom, or fully online coursework with no scheduled meetings. So again, you're just doing everything in Blackboard kind of at your own pace. And that doesn't mean you have the whole term to do it whenever. It means that your instructor will give you specific dates when assignments are due, but you can do it at 3 in the morning if you want. You can do it at 7 a.m. It really kind of depends on what your schedule is. So a few other things to point out here. There is a more detailed walkthrough of the schedule in this YouTube video, which I am in as well. And something else that's super important to pay attention to is what we were just doing in the faculty schedule column. If there are no days listed, or days or times listed, or it's listed as 00, you will not need to attend classes on campus or log into specific live lecture times. So what that means, it's one of those classes that has no live meetings at all. 0, 0. There's no day and time. You have to log into Blackboard and find your information there. Now, if there are days and times listed, you'll either have to attend on campus or log into those classes for live lectures, again, usually on Zoom. And I'm going to show you how to find the difference. Now, every school lists their days a little bit differently. We have classes 7 days a week. So some of them are a little bit easier than others. So M equals Monday, T equals Tuesday, pretty simple. W equals Wednesday, pretty simple. R is one that's sometimes confusing to students because here at MHCC, R means Thursday. F means Friday, Saturday is S, and Sunday is U. And another important thing to know that if 2 or more days of the week are listed, such as MW or Tuesday, Thursday, MW or TR, it means that you need to go to class or log on both of those days. So Monday and Wednesday or Tuesday and Thursday. So let's go ahead and go back to our options and look at this a little bit more. Okay, so if we take a look at this example here with Andy Gerbich, MW, Monday, Wednesday, 10 a.m. to 11:50 a.m. So there is a specific day and time. But if I keep reading, it says eCampus, and that stands for Electronic Campus, scheduled online meeting. So it's just going to be in Zoom. You don't actually have to go to campus. So I'm going to scroll down a little bit and show you another example. This class has 0, 0, 0, 0. So again, no scheduled meeting, so it would be all in Blackboard. And if we keep scrolling down, I see something a little bit different. This class has a W, which means Wednesday, 1:10 to 3 p.m. And then there's some other new information. Main campus, academic center, the word classroom, and then a number. So this class takes place in classroom 1610. It's on the main Gresham campus, and it's in classroom 1610 on Wednesday from 1:10 to 3:30. Now this class also has an online component, but it's super important to know that you really need to also be in class on Wednesdays in that classroom. Okay, I'm going to scroll up a little bit, and we're just going to continue on taking a look at the grid. You'll have additional course fees listed here, potentially the number of credits, and we'll get to what that means in a little bit. The term and the begin date and end date. And this is super important because most classes at MHCC run the whole term. The start of fall term, which is September 20th, to the end of fall term, which is December 11th. But not all classes do. Those that do follow the whole term, we call them 10-week classes. But there are some 5-week classes. And what that means is you might start in September, but you might end in October. Or you could start in what we call the second 5 weeks of term, which means you start sometime in October or even late October, early November, and then you would end in December. A lot of our classes in our health and PE department fall into that category. So you want to take a look at what type of class you are signing up for. Okay, so now what I want you to do is, in just a second, I would like you to pause this video and pull up your own schedule. Now, you learned how to do this in lesson 1 of unit 1, and that Get Connected part 1. If you haven't already done so, I suggest you snap a picture or a screenshot of your schedule. Take a look at your classes and see if they're on campus or remote with a specific time or online without a specific time or some hybrid. Pause the video here and come back when you are ready. So I just asked you to pull up your schedule. If you have not already done so, now is a really great time to write down any questions you have so you can get some help later. Your schedule might be very different or very similar to some other students. Let's take a look at a few examples. And I am going to pull up this PowerPoint and put it in presentation mode. Let's see if I can get the slideshow to start. Okay, so we're going to take a look at the schedule that a student has. they are enrolled in 4 classes, 1, 2, 3, 4. They're an HD 100A College Success, which is 1 credit. And I can see that it meets on Wednesday and there's no classroom time, so this is going to be a Zoom class. Reading 115, 3 credits. I've got a hybrid. I've got 2 times listed. I've got, they're going to be in classroom 15-20 on Thursdays, and then also some remote work other times during the week. Now, next listed is the Bridge program, which all of you are going to have listed on your schedule if you are enrolled in the Bridge program. Since it's 0 credits and there's no grade, you don't even have to worry about it. So we're going to pretend like it's not even there. And then lastly, the student has Writing 115, Introduction to College Writing, 4 credits. And it's got Monday, Wednesday, 10 to 11:50, and there's a classroom. So this student is going to be on class for part of the week, or on campus for part of the week. All right, looking at the next, get my PowerPoint to go to the next screen. If we took that student's schedule and we put it into what we call a blank weekly planner, a nice visual, this planner, this calendar, whatever you want to call it, you can see when this student has class. And you notice that I added in the class, this one where it is, and I blocked out the time. It was 10 to 11:50, so I just kind of blocked out 10 to 12. Monday and Wednesday, there's a Zoom class on noon on Wednesday, and then the reading class, which is on Thursday. So that's what that student's schedule would look like. Now, this next student is taking 12 credits. They have 3 classes, which are 4 credits each. The first class is an art class, ceramics, where you get to make pottery. This is twice a week on campus in the visual arts classroom 6. Psychology has 0 time, so no set time. It'll be fully on Blackboard. And then there's a writing class that is Tuesday, Thursday, 10:30, but it's remote, so that will be on Zoom. So what would their schedule look like in a visual way? So it looks like this. We've got ceramics Monday, Wednesday. We've got writing on Tuesday, Thursday. But wait a minute, didn't that student have one more class? They sure did. But because it has 0, we don't yet know what the instructor, their schedule is going to be like in terms of when the instructor is going to expect assignments. Every instructor is a little bit different. So that instructor might expect things turned in on by Sunday night, or they might expect things turned in by Thursday morning. You just don't know yet until you go to class. So it's a little misleading because their schedule is not 100% visible yet, or we can't write their full schedule down until we get a little bit more information. Okay, so let me just take a look at my notes, make sure I'm not missing anything. All right, so if we go to our next slide, we noticed that we said that this student, student 2 is taking 12 credits, but remember student 1 was taking 9 credits. Well, what does that mean? Well, a credit is also known as a credit hour, and it's approximately the number of hours you would sit in the course. So if we were on campus, it would be the number of hours you're basically sitting or working in a classroom. Now, this does not include the study time outside of the class. So if you're taking a writing class for 4 credits, it means you'll be sitting in, or maybe in Zoom or in your classroom 4 hours a week. But then you're still expected to do all your stuff outside of class. Anything that falls into the study category. It could be reading, doing research, writing papers, doing your problems, memorizing for your vocabulary, doing a laboratory exercise, preparing for exams, all the things that you need to do to be able to complete the course. Now, I want to make sure you understand this because students often underestimate how much time it will take them to be able to complete all their study time. There's a little formula that you can use. In college, we say that for each credit hour, you want to plan for 2 to 3 hours of study time. So to find your total number of hours for class plus study time, multiply your number of credits times 2 or 3. So let's say you were the student taking 9 credits. Well, you take 9 credits, multiply it times 2, 18. 9 credits multiplied by 3, 27. So this student would plan on completing 18 to 27 study hours each week. That sounds like a lot, or it sounds like a little, depending on what you think. And there's a big difference here, but it really depends on you as a student. Everyone takes a different amount of time to read, to do homework. Some of us have really busy lives and it's hard to concentrate. So it's an estimate, but often students underestimate. So I want to make sure that you build enough time into your schedule. So we're going to take a pause here, and I want you to do a little bit of math to determine your total school hours. I know that some of you are maybe taking a full schedule at Mount Hood Community College, meaning you're taking 12 credits or more. Some of you are taking one class. Some of you might be just taking one class, but then you're taking classes at another school. But I want you to go ahead and pause this video and make sure you can add up the total number of credits that you are taking this term. Okay, so now that you know the total number of credits you are taking this term, we need to take that and then multiply that by 2 or by 3. So take a moment and do that math if you haven't done so already. What does that look like for each student? Student number 1 is taking 9 credits. So if we take those 9 hours of class time and add in 18 hours of study time, this student is doing schoolwork, whether in class or doing the study, for at least 27 hours a week. Now, student 2 was taking 12 credits. That would be 12 hours of class time plus 24 hours of study time. So we're talking at least 36 total school hours. Now remember, this is the minimum, because all I did was I took 12 and multiplied it by 2 to get 24. So 36 total school hours, but it could go as high as 48. That's why we call 12 credits full-time, because it's like having a full-time job. Most full-time jobs, you work a minimum of 40 hours a week. So this student could be working on school 36 to 48 hours a week, and that doesn't even include travel time or other preparation that's not exact studying. So if you haven't done so already, go ahead and pause this video, and I want you to go ahead and add together your class time, your credit hours, plus your study hours to give you an idea of the total amount of hours you need to do school. All right, so what does that look like when you add your study time into your schedule? So this was student number 1. If you recall, we had created her schedule before and we just put the classes on. But I wanted to add 18 hours of study time to her schedule. So what I did was I thought, well, it's really, so we added 18 hours in here, and the student has class on Monday. Well, we want to make sure that the student tries to get some of that homework done right after class on Monday while it's fresh in her brain. So we added some time after class, did that on Monday and Wednesday and Thursday, but also added some extra study time in on Tuesday and Friday. Thursday morning, there's no classes, so we added some Writing 115 study time in. And then even though on Thursday afternoon, I scheduled in time for Reading 115 after class, maybe in this class there might be a quiz before or something, so we want to make sure that this student has time to actually maybe even study for a quiz. Now, for most of us, school is really not the only thing we have going on in our lives. Many of you are very, very busy. And, for students who struggle in school, what I find is that it's mostly because school really takes a lot more time than students have. So what would this student's schedule look like once I added in her other responsibilities? All right, well, let's take a look. It gets a lot busier. Now, I'm estimating these things, but the kinds of things that you want to add into your schedule would be things like work, practice if you're on a team, meals, other responsibilities. So this student I estimated works on Saturday and Sunday. Put that in there in red. Can't forget that. There's family responsibilities such as Sunday night dinner at grandma's every Sunday. This student also is responsible for making dinner and cleaning up Monday through Thursday. So that's on the schedule because that has to be done. It's also super important to put in your social time because if you don't have any time to relax, you are going to run out of steam and run out of energy. So Friday nights might be the time for the student to have dinner and time with friends. Maybe Saturday night is a specific time to Zoom with dad or other people that don't live in town, or if you're keeping socially distant from folks, you want to keep that on your schedule, and some time to chill out at home. Now the student's busy, so I also put in the bedtime so that the student gets enough sleep. Now there's other things that are involved with being a human, right? Things like groceries, maybe weekly appointments and errands. We want to make sure that that's in there so the rest of our life doesn't fall apart. The other thing that students often sometimes forget is breaks in between classes. So let's take a look at Monday. This student has writing 115 in room 2653. That student's been in class for two hours. You want to be able to take a break, grab some lunch, maybe take a walk around. But then that student has some studying to do. So it really depends on you. If going home, and home is a nice, quiet place for you to be able to concentrate, then you want to go ahead and do that. But maybe for you, studying at home, it's loud, there's people there, and there's other distractions. So maybe you want to go somewhere else to study. Some students might want to go to the computer lab or to the library, or maybe I have some students who just like to sit in their car because it's quiet. So it really totally depends on you. But we want to make sure that we schedule that in. Now, take a look on Wednesday. This student has a pretty busy schedule on Wednesday because they have writing class from 10 to 11:50, and there's only 10 minutes between this class on campus and Zoom. So the student has to find a place on campus where they can take their Zoom class. And right now it's a little tricky because not every single space on campus is open due to COVID, but maybe they could work in the computer lab, maybe they could find a quiet place potentially in the library as long as they don't have to talk too much and wouldn't distract anybody else who's in there studying. But again, they want to think about that because unless they live 2 minutes away from home, unless they live 2 minutes away from school, there's no way they're going to have time to be able to get from campus home. So just thinking about that, but still planning in lunch, take a break, and time to study. Okay, so now it's about time for you to create your schedule. And so what I want to do, actually, before we do that, I want to go down to another page, because what happens if all of your classes are 0, 0 to 0, 0? So take a look at this student's classes. They're taking, 4, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12 credits, and we're not counting bridge, but all of them have zeros. So creating your schedule is not going to look like this right away. So just keep that in mind while I show you something. There are some great tools that we have in your Bridge packet, and also we have links to electronic ones that are going to help you to be able to plan your schedule. So I want to show you them. The first is what's called the academic calendar. This is really great because often students ask me, when does the term start? When does the term end? Where you can see when all of these classes begin and end for the whole 21 to 2022 academic year. So it's split up. Each column is a term. So summer, fall, winter, and spring. So if we take a look at fall, you can see exactly when the term begins, any holidays, when finals week is, when it's closed, so you can plan your life and know when class starts again. So you can see, the last day of the term is December 11th. All finals will be over. And then you get 1, 2, 3 weeks off until we start again on January 3rd. So that's pretty cool to know. Another thing that the Avid and Learning Success Center creates for you every single term is a term schedule. So this is the one for fall 2021. So you can see all the weeks of the term at a glance. And it also has some information on here like when financial aid gets dispersed or last day to add a class. So it's all detailed on here for you, along with things like when campus is closed due to holidays or other non-service days. And there's also some other information here for you that you can look up the links. So take advantage of that. Now, this is a planner that you can also edit. You can print it out and write on, or you can just keep it in a Word document and type on it. It's not the kind of document that I would write my daily homework every night, but maybe you could if that works for you. I might use it for big assignments, like when tests and exams are. But you can type on this. You can do anything you want to this to make it your own. So just keep that in mind. And of course, we have the blank weekly planner. So this is the exact same thing I use to create the example for those students. So we have them available to you in Word and Excel. So you can practice, do whatever you need with them to make them your own. You can type on them. You can change the colors. You can change the numbers. If you work graveyard shift or swing shift, if you're like, hey, I get up at 5 in the morning, change it to whatever works for you. Some students might have another planner that works better for them, and that's totally fine. So getting back to what we said about this particular student, I'm going to scroll to the bottom of this PowerPoint because we said, what happens if you are a student who all of your classes are 0, 0, 0, 0? Well, in just a minute, I'm going to ask you to create your own schedule. So if all of your classes don't have a specific time yet, you want to maybe start with your other responsibilities. And you can start with this even if you do know when your class times are, because there are some things that are going to be non-negotiable. So it's super important to add these things, but I want to make sure that you know that you can start with this even if you don't know when your classes are. Okay, students, so we have gone through a lot of things in this video. Now it's your time or your turn to make sense of your schedule. And this is that tricky assignment because not all of you are going to be able to make the exact schedule right now, but you're going to start. And it's just a draft. You might have to talk to your family about this. You might have to think about what your schedule is like, but it's just a draft. And if you notice, the printed blank weekly planner that's in your Summer Bridge packet, it's two-sided. So make a mistake, you can write it on another piece of paper, do whatever you need to do to make it your own. So here's what I want you to do. If you need to watch this video again, totally go for it. I want you to use the blank weekly planner that's in your Bridge packet or one of the electronic copies that are in this lesson to create a draft of your schedule. If you're like, hey, Sarah, that paper is too small, I need to write mine on like gigantic paper or do it on a dry erase board, go for it. Do it however works for you, but make some sort of visual schedule. When you're done, you're going to snap a picture of it and you're going to submit it in this lesson in the next step, or you can attach it as a screenshot or a document, whatever works for you. And then you're going to take a short quiz on what you've learned. And I know there's a lot of stuff in this video, so thanks for hanging in. Understanding your schedule is really super important. If you have questions, please come to one of our Zoom drop-in sessions. And if you can't make those work, send a Blackboard message to me or Stephanie and we'll find another time. Thanks for watching, and I cannot wait to see your schedules.